What's up, guys? We got a new patch, so I'm going to go ahead and go through it and share my thoughts on it. It's not the biggest patch ever, but we're going to go through step by step and just take a look at what's in this patch. Alright, so we have a bug fix. Hunter class ability cooldowns are now properly affected by quick reload perk and Megamouth Elite Wildlife buff. So what was happening is instead of the ability cooldowns being reduced, they were actually being increased by these perks. So it was actually a nerf to your character whenever you got Megamouth Elite or the quick reload perk. I think it was only for class ability cooldowns. So it was only for your domes and heal bursts and shields and stuff like that. But that was happening for the last, I don't know, week or so, since the last patch. Hunter's Jetpack. Jetpack fuel is no longer used when airborne and moving in a direction but not thrusting. This is actually pretty good. So what used to happen is if you went off of a cliff and you were falling for a little while, after a second or so, it would start to slowly deplete your jetpack. Which was kind of weird, right? You weren't actually jumping or using your jetpack at all, but you were just falling and it would use your jetpack. It kind of makes sense because you don't want to fall fast, but I think it's better to do it this way. So this fixes hunters burning jetpack fuel while in a knockdown state. Jetpack fuel recharges at 7% per second instead of 7.5% per second. Essentially, it takes 1 second longer to recharge your empty jetpack to full, is what they're saying. So basically, they're just making it so that as you're going through the map, you were losing this before. You're basically going to move roughly the same distance by just slightly nerfing the recharge. I don't think that's a big deal. I think it's probably more of a nerf to hunters than anything. I don't think it's going to be exactly the same. Like, the compensation for it is not going to be exactly the same. I think it's going to be slightly worse than it was previously, because I don't think that fall usage was a big deal out of combat. Like, it only affected when you were dropping long distances, and I don't think that's the majority of the time, but in certain situations it might be good. Alright, so we got to change to Markov. His arc mines do slightly more damage, 550, and it was 500. I think that's a good change. His arc mines were feeling a little bit underwhelming, but not so much. I think it's more the hit points that they have now instead of the damage. I think it's really easy for a monster to take care of those. The only one that I can see that has a problem is maybe Behemoth, because he has to waste one of his big cooldowns to take care of them. Like, you can't just use tongue grab through the mines to have them explode, or you can't, I don't know. Rockwall doesn't really do anything to them. You really can only use Lava Bomb as the best and easiest way to take care of them, but that's a pretty long cooldown that you have to commit to that. Whereas Goliath, you can just like spread the fire really quick on the mines, just like swipe your mouse across it. They'll explode, and you can still use your fire to deal a little bit of damage to the rest of them. Kraken has never had a problem; he can just auto attack them. Wraith, Abduction can go through it and not take damage, and I believe the same for Warp Blast, as long as you go through the mine and don't land inside of the mine's explosion radius, then I don't think you take damage. So there's quite a few ways to take care of those, except for on Behemoth. So we have a slight nerf to Torvald. Torvald's a mortar cannon. I'm a little bit sad about it, but I don't think it's the biggest nerf ever. It's only a 1.5 second increase to his reload speed. What this is going to probably make you do is to cycle through everything, because it's not going to work out the same way. You're going to have an extra 1.5 seconds between when you switch from shotgun to mortars and you can fire again. Whereas before, it was actually like you'd use your full clip on your shotgun and you could switch right back to mortar and you'd be reloaded by that time, and you could just toggle back and forth and constantly be firing. So I think this is going to make you go like shotgun, or like mortar, shotgun, mine, mortar, in that order, and just cycle that through, which I guess is good because you'll get more use out of his mines. Veil, her heal burst recharges in 20 seconds. It was 22. I'm not sure if this is enough. Again, being like one of those medics that really doesn't have anything to heal herself like consistently and doesn't have a cloak, she definitely needs this heal charge to be in the right place. You know, you got Kyra who can heal herself on the ground constantly, so I think she'll still have more self-heal than Veil almost always, unless they buff this to an incredible amount. Lazzy has a cloak, even though he's not very good. He does have probably better survivability than Vale, at least at the very beginning. And then Slim can heal himself as well. Although Slim is probably the same problem, because when Slim's being focused, it's a lot harder to recharge your heal burst. The trank duration was reduced from 8 seconds, and it was 10. So they nerfed tranks. I don't know if that was necessary. Maybe it was. I haven't had a problem with tranks though. But then I haven't had a problem with Val in general because you just focus her and she dies. So maybe with this buff she needed a slight nerf to this. I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. Leech gun accuracy is now dynamic, works at long range if you slow your fire rate, helps versus Kraken. Yeah, this is something that he needed. He's still going to have trouble probably against Kraken and Wraith just because they're harder to hit regardless. You're going to have to slow your fire, so you're going to slow your healing output. So he's still going to have problems against those two monsters, I think. Heal Burst gives incapped players 302 health, it was 275. Heal Burst gives normal teammates 220 health, it was 220. So he actually got a slight buff to all of his healing, which is really good. That's actually exactly what he needed to be a little bit better, because he always had some trouble keeping up with his healing at the stage 2 and 3 monsters. Is it going to be enough? I'm not 100% sure. It could easily be borderline overpowered, because if he heals too much, the fact that he's constantly dealing damage as well will easily make him the best medic. So it's a fine line to balance this guy correctly. I think they already nerfed his damage quite a bit, so they're buffing his healing to make him a little bit more of that medic role that he needs to be. Alright, so for monsters, we have a slight nerf to Kraken's hit points, down 500 at stage 2 and 1000 at stage 3. That's probably like a bar each evolve that you're going to be lacking. Maybe less, I don't know exactly how much that is. Maybe a half a bar, and then a full bar at stage 3. I actually played one Kraken game on the update that you guys will see tomorrow, and I didn't notice it that much. I guess I kind of noticed it because my health did go down, but I mean, I didn't notice it to an extreme amount. Warp Blast, we have a radius reduction, so it's 1 meter at stage 3. That's not a big deal. 0.5, 0.7, and 1 meter. I don't think you're going to really notice this that much, although any nerfs to Wraith it's tough because Warp Blast is definitely her core right now. It's really the only thing that she can use against any hunter and be fine. I usually go 3 into this at stage 1 just so that if they pick Torvald, I don't pick any into Abduction, because it's really hard to win against a Torvald that knows what he's doing when you have Abduction, because he can just hit you every time and take like a full bar every single time you use Abduction. So if you get domed and use it like 6 times, you've already lost all your armor and like 1 bar of health, which is just ridiculous. Alright, so we have some changes to Behemoth on being harpooned, it looks like. So this is probably directly at Griffin. I don't think that I'm going to have that much of a problem, but we'll see how big. I mean, it's a 25% and it was 50% in terms of like the drag that is on the roll. If he still has to come out of the ball and hit the harpoon and it doesn't break automatically, I think Griffin will still be fine. The roll stamina consumed at 6% per second, except it was 6.5. This is really good. I was talking about, and actually the next buff as well, roll initial energy used 10% and it was 15. This is what I was talking about, I think like last week or the week before, of what Behemoth needed, because he couldn't quite get enough distance to evolve after a fight, especially if you had someone like a Griffin or a what's his name, Crow on the team. So that's definitely cool. They buffed the Blitz Leopard monster climb speed. It's 75%. It was 50. I mean, that's always good. You sometimes see this wildlife buff come around and you don't really care about it that much, but I think it's going to be a good buff for Behemoth to grab whenever he sees it, just so he can stick on people a little bit easier. Alright, consoles only. I guess I'll go through it. I don't know how many console players I have that watch my videos. So the max glide speed while tranked is now 8. Max glide speed in stasis is now 8. So basically, I think this is for Kraken. When he's getting tranked at stasis, he's going to be slightly slowed while he's in the air. Not while he's bursting, but probably just while he's gliding. The harpoon tether acceleration, I'm not sure exactly what that means. is now 12. It was 10. So they buffed it. Maybe that's like how stretchy the harpoon is on Griffin, so it doesn't break right away. I don't know. I can't think of what that would be. Harpoon trap tether acceleration, same thing, 1.5 to 1, so that's Maggie's. Not really sure what that means. Maybe it's how quickly the harpoon shoots out from either the trap or the gun. Like as it shoots out, it goes a little bit quicker to its destination. I don't know why that would need to be tweaked at all, but it's a buff nonetheless. I'll take it. Gravity extra while tranked is now 7, so they're increasing the gravity slightly to pull Kraken to the ground a little bit faster. I'm not sure if this is going to be enough. Kraken now descends while hit by a Trank Stasis. This is for PC. Trank Stasis are harpoon even while using abilities. This will be interesting to see how this works, because it's always been a problem when Kraken is in combat. It's impossible to take him to the ground as long as he's using his spacebar, even while he's Trank Stasis or harpooned. You cannot bring him to the ground before this patch, so we'll see how that becomes affected. More fixes to the holes in rock wall, yay! I don't know if it's going to be completely fixed, but I will definitely revisit and see if it works. I'll probably do it in like a bot game just to test it. Fix a crash while using tongue grab, I haven't seen that. Fix this, I've seen. A server crash while using fissure. I think everybody that plays Behemoth or plays against Behemoth has seen this. This has happened to me maybe 10 times or something since he came out. Hunters added a cap to the knockback velocity. Added a hard cap to how long you could be locked down and set it at 0.7 seconds, or 0.75 seconds. This will, after this time is up, oh, I don't like this. I don't think I like this. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see exactly how it plays. After this time is up, the player will regain the ability to use jetpack, use abilities, and shoot, though they may still be affected by any momentum caused by the initial knockback or tumble. Hint, jetpack dodging will correct the momentum velocity. So basically what this is saying is that there's a hard cap to how much you can juggle a player. So let's say you like charge, and then initially, right after charge, you do like a heavy attack, and then you do a rock throw all together. I don't know if that combo will still work. I don't know exactly what the hard cap is. They just said they added a hard cap, or actually it's 0.75 seconds, so that would not work anymore. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, right? How long until that hard cap goes away? Or maybe it's as long as they regain their ability to dodge, even for a split second, it'll refresh that hard cap. I don't know exactly how this is going to work. Goliath is the one that I think will be hurt the most by this, because he relies on other ability to set up his rock throw often. So we'll have to see how that works. The player will regain control when the knockback velocity matches or is less than the base speed of the hunter. Okay. Change the way in which momentum and velocity is applied to hunters when knockback or tumble is applied. It should be far harder for the monster to juggle the player, as the direction is now not the same direction that the attack came from, but is now calculated by the direction of the attack and the direction the hunter is moving. So I think it's basically if the hunter's like moving towards, if a hunter jetpack dodges towards the Goliath as he's doing a heavy attack, he won't get thrown back as far because he's already moving in the direction of the Goliath, I think is what that means. But if he's moving backwards and he still gets hit, he's going to get thrown even farther. Or like a better example is if you get vortexed and if you jetpack dodge backwards while getting hit by vortex, you get launched farther than if you jetpack dash like towards the vortex or something like that. So that's how that works. I don't know exactly how that's going to apply to in-game. The 2 games that I've played on, actually I've only played 1 game. The 1 game that I've played on this patch, I haven't noticed it, but that's only 1 game, right? So that's it. I think it's a pretty good patch, actually. I think a lot of the things that I have been noticing are addressed in this, specifically for Behemoth stuff, and also, what was it, this Valkyrie burst charges, and even Slim actually is a lot of stuff that I was thinking about, so that's pretty cool. Good patch overall. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you next time.